Next up, a dialogue on Rwanda's plans for Africa.
So joining me on stage now, we have, I'm going to do my job here, Dr. Uzziel, but Dr. Ndagijimana, Uzziel, how did that do? Is that okay? Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Minister, Minister of Finance of Rwanda, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a crazy schedule, and you're giving us like 15 minutes, so thank you. I interviewed on this stage, although he was seated in my chair and you were seated in my seat, President Paul Kagame. I interviewed him right here on this stage in December. And in that, he basically said, hey, what do you want Rwanda's story to be, what it is? And we talked about biopharmaceutical parks, all these other things. And, just to be truth in advertising, I asked him, then I interviewed him again in March 13th, about Paul Rusesabagina. We all know from Rwanda that many Americans just knew that. He's now out of Rwanda in the United States. Now Rwanda can have a different direction and story. And I'm interested in what is Rwanda's story? What are you doing now to move your country forward by way of, I've talked to Paul Kagame many times about strategic leaping, being Africa's Asian tiger, if you will, and changing the financial course of the country.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. Steve, in short, Rwanda has transformed itself from a tragic situation, from a totally devastated country by the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994 to a united and stable country. Over the last about 3 decades since the genocide, the Rwandan economy has been growing at a high rate, on average between 7 and 8%. And this growth has also translated into poverty reduction and improvement in the living conditions. And as we can see by key social indicators such as reduction in the maternal and child mortalities, access to education. More specifically, the life expectancy of Rwanda has increased from 49% in 2000 to 49 years around in 2000 to 69 years now, as per our recent census.
It's going to be real trouble for your entitlements programs.
Sorry?
I said it's going to be real trouble for your Social Security and Medicare when you get them someday. The longer people live, the more it's going to cost. I'm just joking. It's a bad joke.
It's a good news because our demographics are now favorable. The working age is growing. Of course, it requires more investment in education and skill development to make best use of this growing labor force.
Right.
Number two, we have also, coming from such a very low base, you can see also improvement in access to infrastructure like water, electricity. More importantly, Rwanda has invested in a digitization program. Currently, the whole country has access to high-speed internet. The mobile phone penetration is close to 80%, from 2% 10 years ago. It has grown very fast. Another story is that in the line of really adopting digital technologies, most of public services in Rwanda are offered online, electronically. This includes business registration, which is now done within 60 hours. Or most of public services such as application for administrative documents like ID, passports, construction permits, and others are done electronically, and the fees paid using the mobile phone. Our public procurement is done electronically. You can bid from the US, from Australia, from anywhere in the world for supply of goods and services in Rwanda, for construction, for consulting services, online. And you can sign the contract. This is done through our e-procurement system, which is fully operational for the last 3 years or so. In brief, our vision is to become an upper middle income country by 2035 and a high income country by 2050.
Who's the source of who's the biggest source of external finance right now for Rwanda?
The source of finance?
No, external finance, but who's the...
External finance.
Yeah.
It's mostly bilateral partners. The World Bank is number one.
World Bank is number one.
Then
Are they treating you well enough, or do they need to treat you better?
Yes, we are well treated.
You're happy with the World Bank?
Yes, we're happy. There are limitations. I'll come to that. Then number two is African Development Bank.
ADB? Okay.
Then other partners we follow, including also bilateral partners.
Is the United States doing anything useful?
A lot.
Okay. How useful, like scale of 1 to 10?
Yes, they are very active in the key sectors like health, education, agriculture, and the others.
How about China?
China is doing well.
Where's China compared to the U.S.?
I will not do comparison because each partner has a preference, the sector, the mode, financing mode. But China is investing mostly in infrastructure, in health. So they provide grants, they provide free interest loan, and also concessional loans.
How about Qatar?
Sorry?
Qatar.
So Qatar, we are partnering in the private investment, mostly in the air transport and the airports.
Yeah, I tell this kind of as a joke, but I had dinner recently, serendipitously, with the CEO of Qatar Airways, and with all due respect to some Portuguese contractors who were building your new airport in Kigali, they said this is going to be a terrible airport. And so Qatar Airways, or Qatar, is now helping you to build a new airport, right? And planes.
No, the Portuguese company is still implementing one phase of the airport.
Interesting. So, I think, but it shows a development vector where, as you're kind of looking at this external financing, do you find, because one of the discussions I had with both the Chinese now foreign minister, but also Paul Kagame, is whether or not nations like Rwanda, but also many other African states, are suffering with too much debt portfolio now. Are you able to perform on that debt, or are you in a debt trap?
No, we are not. I'm aware that many countries are facing debt burden, but it is not the case of Rwanda. In Rwanda, we have always conducted a prudent debt management policy, focusing on grants and concessional loans from multilateral donors, as I mentioned, and we go for commercial debt only for specific productive projects that can generate growth, can increase the capacity of the country to service the loan. So our debt, over 80% is concessional and mainly multilateral.
So what gaps do you most need to fill right now? We have Ajay Banga, who's becoming the new president of the World Bank. He was also very interested in Rwanda, I know. He was the former CEO of MasterCard, which is part of the Edison Alliance, and Rwanda's possibly becoming part of that. What are the deficits in infrastructure and investment that when Paul Kagame sends you out in the world, says, I need these marks? What's your checklist, your work list?
The checklist is long.
Long?
Yes. We are doing well in the key infrastructure, but we still have a gap. For example, our plan is to ensure 100% access to electricity. Currently, we are at 61%.
Wow.
So, but we have already mobilized resources that can take us up to around 85%. Already, projects are under implementation. So we need to mobilize more to reach the target. For water, clean water, we are over around 84% as well.
Right.
Yeah, so for transport, we have a good road network, but we still have some road to be improved, like feeder roads connecting farms to markets. We also need, not beyond Rwanda, in the region to increase the regional network. We need badly a railway that can connect us to the ocean to lower the cost of transport. Currently, it is very expensive.
The other question, we're just already at the end of time, but I'm interested, is that Rwanda is now producing more and more of its own pharmaceutical products. It's producing, there's a pharmaceutical park, you're building, this capacity, bringing it. How are you matching investment and manufacturing with human capital? How's that ecosystem? Because everything is complex when you bring it. You're trying to raise people up, but you're also trying to bring in industry. And I think, I've just interviewed President Kagame now so many times. He just doesn't want to take handouts from the rest of the world. He wants to basically produce and turn Rwanda into the Singapore of Africa. How is that going?
Recently, we received the first containers for the vaccine manufacturing plants. So we are ready in a few months to start production. But this investment fits into a broader ecosystem, as you said. So there are other producers of pharmaceuticals and medical equipment. We are also strengthening our capacity in terms of regulation. We have a young regulatory body, the Rwanda Drugs and the Food Authority. We are collaborating with a similar institution in the European Union to improve the capacity to be able to ensure the quality of pharmaceuticals in the country. We are also investing in medical education and in science and technology. So it is really a health science ecosystem we are building. And specifically where the plant is located, it is exactly where we have demarcated our Kigali Innovation City to attract similar investment.
And let me ask you, finally, Mr. Minister, I've got John Clifton, who's the CEO here of Gallup, coming up next. We're going to talk about the world's emotional economy and the state of unhappiness in the world. And I'm interested in, given the growth rate, economic growth rate, but given the stress, there's political stress, there's security stress, there are issues I've been reading, about the DRC and, where things are going. How does the stress level or the confidence level of average Rwandans feel right now? Are they confident in the future? Are they stressed out about the future? What is the emotional health of the average person?
I don't have
the data?
a measurement. I don't have a thermometer to measure that.
Give me your gut.
But we conduct some surveys, like the confidence of our citizens in governance, government institutions is quite high. Our citizens appreciate the journey traveled together since the genocide that happened in Rwanda in 1994. 29 years, you can see the country has changed completely. So everyone is on board. Major injustice the population suffered in the past has been resolved. We have now a United Nations, we have a young population, over 60%, with access to education, with access to opportunities, without any discrimination. So you see really that everyone is contributing to accelerate the growth we are observing today.
Well, with that, we'll have to conclude it. Dr. Ndagijimana, Uzziel, thank you so much. I hope you'll come back, give us a status report next year. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.